So you're thinking about moving to St. Petersburg, Florida, and you want to know everything there is to know, the pros and the cons, the good and the bad about living here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Well, stick around because that's what we're going to be discussing today, the pros and the cons of living here in St. Petersburg, Florida. So if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Tampa Bay and the surrounding areas like the city of St. Petersburg, then subscribe below, tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know everything there is to know about living here in sunny Tampa Bay, Florida. Again, we're going to be covering everything that's going on here in St. Petersburg, Florida, so you can see if it's a good fit for you, and we're going to get going right now.
Hey, I'm Jason, and this is my partner Amy, and just like you, we relocated to Florida a few years ago and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and we can help you make that smooth move to Tampa Bay, Florida.
The city of St. Petersburg is located right along the Tampa Bay, across from our neighboring city, Tampa. The population is right around 260,000 and growing, especially since the pandemic in 2020. We have people moving from New York, California, Nevada, and the Midwest.
All right, so let's get to it and let's go over the good and bad, the pros and cons of living in St. Petersburg. And well, let's start off with the good stuff. What would you say are the good things about St. Petersburg?
Well, let's just start with the weather.
Yeah, weather is amazing, and I gotta tell you, it's one of the reasons we moved here from Kansas City, wouldn't you?
Yep, absolutely. So the city of St. Petersburg is actually known as Sunshine City. We hold a world record for most days of sunshine at 361 days. So only 4 days without sunshine, yes please. We absolutely love having warmer weather. We have mild winters, so one of the reasons a lot of people choose, we're the number 4 place for people to retire here in America. And I definitely think it has to do with our mild winters and our sunny days. So if you're looking for either of those, this is a great place.
Absolutely, the weather is phenomenal.
So let's move on to something a little bit more serious, and that is the economy.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a pro about St. Petersburg is the economy, and it's mainly fueled by tourism and visitors, as we have roughly about 4 million people visiting per year, and that drives in about $2 billion a year in revenue. So it's a huge factor for us here in the economy. So the St. Petersburg economy is rooted in the financial services, which is a huge resource for new and small businesses. Manufacturing is also a big industry, and that's mainly due to transportation infrastructure and the port access. Since we are next to the Gulf of Mexico and next to the Tampa Bay, we are huge in marine sciences, and we're one of the biggest in the southeast area. St. Petersburg was also in the recent news because of a new Tesla plant, and we are home to the HSN shopping network.
So as you know, the economy is not something that's really exciting to talk about, but it's important, and it's a very important thing to consider when you're moving to the area.
Absolutely.
So another pro of living here in St. Petersburg is our location. So location is such an important thing, especially in real estate. Location, 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 that's what sells, right? Anyway, a lot of people don't know this, and I guess if you're not familiar with the area, you wouldn't know, but one of the things that we found when we came to visit here and ultimately decided to move here was Tampa Bay is centrally located in Florida. So we are halfway down the state, and you are able to get to the other areas of Florida really easily. So we can drive south and be in Naples in like 2.5 hours. We can drive across the state and end up on the other shore, the Atlantic Ocean, in 3 hours. We can even get to Miami in under 4 hours. And of course, there's Disney in Orlando, and that's a 2-hour drive from this area. So the location could not be better. Another thing is we're really close to the city of Tampa, and one important thing they have there is the port. So if you want to hop on a cruise for the weekend, you can just drive right over the bay to Tampa and get on a cruise, take that for the weekend, and come back home. So super awesome location.
Yeah, absolutely. Access to just about anything.
Yeah, we love it. And then if you're into water sports, or we're surrounded by water, and you kind of don't notice that until you get here, and then you just realize you're driving over all of these bridges and there's like water everywhere you look. So if you are into fishing or boating or skiing or any of the things water related, this is going to be a fantastic location.
All right, so let's get down to another exciting, wonderful pro about living in St. Petersburg. And that is the lifestyle. One of the main reasons we relocated here from Kansas City was absolutely the lifestyle. Amy and I, not only do we love to be outside and be very active, but our two boys, they are absolutely in love with being outside and spending their time just enjoying outside.
Yeah, there's a lot to offer in the area. If you're, into being outdoors, definitely there's all the things you can imagine to do outdoors.
Beach, which is her favorite.
Yes, we're going to talk about that a little later.
Right. But everything from riding a bike, so year round, it provides you an outdoor, you can be outdoors. I mean, and that's phenomenal. I think that right there is enough to make me want to live here.
Mm-hmm. And it makes really neat dining opportunities. So you can go downtown and eat outside like all year round. It's an amazing thing. There's outdoor dining. You can listen to live music outdoors. You can just really do all things outdoors all year round. And that really was important for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Lifestyle is huge. And, whether you like to hang out in your backyard, and pools are a huge priority for a lot of people buying and relocating down here because of, when you got a pool in the backyard, that extends your living space, right? Basically to the outside, which is huge. Lifestyle regarding, hobbies, a lot of boating, like you mentioned, fishing, wakeboarding, kiteboarding. We don't have huge surf, so I can't say that there's a lot of surfing.
But the skimboarding's really popular.
Skimboarding, and there's occasional surfers out there, absolutely, especially when the storms are rolling in. But
well, let's talk a little bit more about what else is to offer as far as lifestyle. I think we have some really good opportunities for if you're into the arts. We have the Dahli Museum. We also have the St. Petersburg Fine Arts Museum. You'll find those downtown, and you can walk to them if you live down there, so that's amazing. We have great sports in the area. I'm sure you have heard.
Go Rays.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Rays, they've done really well. The Bucks, they won Super Bowl in the last few years, and the Lightning. Yeah, so they've won a couple of Stanley Cups in the last few years. So sports are doing really well here. So if you're a sports fanatic, this is a great place. Okay, and so now for our last pro of the day, and my favorite, the beaches. I love the beach so much, and I know that people love the beaches. And it's a major draw to this area. And every single year, we're recognized, some beach on near St. Petersburg is recognized in the top 10, if not the top 5. So we love the beach. We know you're going to love the beach too. And we have 25 miles of soft white sand in Pinellas County, right outside of St. Petersburg. So
absolutely. And the crystal clear blue water for most of the year, if not all of the year, is absolutely amazing. The temperature in the water is always pretty amazing, and being out in the beach is pretty phenomenal. There's all kind of restaurants on the water, up in, that we've got a couple restaurants up in the top of a couple buildings on the rooftops, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. For sunsets, we've got a lot of beachside restaurants, and those are real fun, and the kids love going to those and having dinner and enjoying lunch and different things on the water.
Yeah, so beaches are one of our major pros of living here in the St. Petersburg area.
All right, so let's get down to the cons of living in St. Petersburg. One of the cons that some people consider when they're moving here, and I think it's important if you are thinking about relocating here to know that weather can be a challenge sometimes, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, there's risks with our weather, but for the most part, the weather here is amazing. But there are the risks of the hurricanes.
And here's how I would describe it: is the hurricanes build up in storms, so we always know for most of the time that they're coming, or there's a likelihood of a storm coming our way or hitting a part of Florida, which can make it worse. I think in California, when I lived there, we had earthquakes, and those just happened. You didn't get any warning at all, and it was destruction a lot of times when a huge earthquake would hit. So there you didn't have any notification of it. And in Kansas City, we had tornadoes, and we really didn't have notification of that as well. As advanced as the systems are, they popped up and you didn't know, and a lot of times you couldn't get in the basement quick enough when one was coming. So here with the hurricanes, I think it's a little bit more stressful, and they're certainly put in the news for weeks before they hit, and so it seems like they're worse than sometimes they are. But it's just something you got to be aware of, and you got to plan accordingly, I would say, as far as that goes. And then next we have some flooding that happens occasionally. And that's because, some parts of the city are a lot older. Some of the, infrastructure for sewage and drainage is not as great as it could be, or, as it is in newer areas. But if you go to the outskirts of Tampa Bay, you can get into areas where, flooding is not a big deal.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say that flooding's like a major risk all of the time. It's just, it happens. We do get water on the streets, especially during our rainy season. You'll have a downpour and there will be standing water on the streets, but it's quick. Then it leaves. It's gone and you're done. You don't worry about it anymore. Yeah. And then another thing with the weather here is, and some people call this a con, but I guess I'm a native Kansas Cityan, and so it was always hot and humid there in the summer, and I actually love hot summers. I mean, summertime is my favorite for seasons, and it always has been. And so one of the things they say here in Florida is endless summer, and I love summer. So the heat and humidity don't bother me as much. I mean, you can always jump in a pool, you can always drive to the beach, you can just stay inside in the air conditioning. There's ways to get around it, and I think it's the most humidity and heat are like from probably like June through maybe October. But it's not like every single day, and a lot of times we'll watch the weather and see that it's hotter in the Midwest and even up north, other places, than it is here. But we want you to know that it does get hot and humid here. And if you're not used to it, it might be a shock.
Absolutely. But like she said, during the hottest part of the day, us and the kids, and it's not even all year or all summer, it's just a month or two during the hottest part of the year. And a lot of times we're just inside or enjoying, a mall or the house or somewhere, or on the beach where it's nice and cool. And so I don't think overall it's that bad when it is hot.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, so let's go over con number 2 of living in St. Petersburg. And one that, I'm relatively familiar with is the traffic. So a lot of people, when they get here, you don't realize it until you get acclimated a little bit better, that traffic is a little bit different than a lot of places.
Yeah, the city of St. Petersburg is a different kind of area when it comes to driving. So most of your driving is going to be on regular roads. So we have one freeway. Well, there's two, but the major interstate is the 275 that runs north and south, and it's just through a portion. It's not even up well, I guess it goes through all of St. Petersburg, right? Yeah. And then we have the alternate 19, which is it's not really an interstate, but you can go a little bit faster on that, like 55.
Right.
Other than that, we don't have any other freeways. So you're going to be driving through regular roadways, regular streets, and you're going to be stopping at stoplights. And one of my biggest surprises when I got here was like, to go a short distance takes like double the time that it did where we were from.
It can certain parts of the day. I wouldn't say all day, every day though. I think during certain parts of the time, the lights seem to stop you a little bit more than others.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Much of the downtown area has a lot of electric vehicles that, you can jump on and rent for just, a small fee. They've got scooters, electric bikes, and all those you can pick up and drop off at any time. So that makes it a little easier, I think, certainly downtown.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so in addition to the traffic, another part that complicates traffic in our area is the amount of visitors that are here. So we have people coming in from all different parts of the country. We also have visitors that come here for part of the year and stay. So the traffic pattern kind of changes throughout the year. And so it can be something to get used to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you get used to the different parts of the year that they change, then you just realize that you got to be a little bit more cautious and you got to be patient. You know, like you say, when people are on vacation, they're on vacation and, you know, they're driving and they're not familiar with the area. And because the visitors and vacationers are such a huge driver for our economy, we love visitors here and we love you to come and vacation here. That's one of the great things about Florida. So, but it is definitely something once you live here, or if you're buying a residence as a second home, you just have to get used to that. And I think once you realize when the traffic pattern changes, you just adjust. And I think it's not a big deal at all.
Yeah, I would agree. And then the last part of this traffic con is the insurance. So auto insurance is pretty expensive here. It can be more than a lot of other areas. And that was something that was really surprising to us when we got here. We were really like, uh-oh.
Yeah, it was different.
Just not something that we, you know, even knew could be that big of a difference, right?
Yeah.
So definitely want to make sure you check into your auto insurance and see what it would be in this area. All right, so for our very last con, and we know we didn't have as many cons as we did pros, and that's a great thing, right, if you're relocating here. So our last con is, it's kind of a strange one, but I think it's important to point out. The city of St. Petersburg is an older city, so when you come here, you may be surprised that there aren't huge, sprawling subdivisions with newer homes. You're going to find more of an urban-suburban mix over the big subdivisions with newer homes and HOAs.
Absolutely. And so if you are looking for newer homes, there's certainly a lot of newer built homes. I mean, you can get a home that's never been lived in. In several areas of the city, which is pretty phenomenal. Now, the downtown area, there's a lot of newer buildings going up because of, the economy and everything. There's a lot of skyscrapers going up for business and for residential. So, there's a lot of newer homes downtown, which is pretty exciting. And again, throughout the area, you're going to find the areas that have newer homes and certainly you can find a subdivision with an HOA.
Right, and you're not going to find like the huge shopping districts and malls and stuff in St. Petersburg. It's an older city. You're going to find a lot of more local mom and pop shops and neighborhoods, that have, they're well established and still beautiful and everything. You can still do all the same things. I just think it's a different look and something to be aware of if you're relocating here.
Absolutely. And don't forget, just like us, we vacationed here and we fell in love with the area. And there's so many amazing things about it, but it's also important to know the good and the bad. And that's what we try to do in these videos, is to help you with the information, not only that we knew and researched beforehand, but the information that we learned when we moved here, and then all the new stuff that's come up since. And, sharing that is the best thing we can do, because we want your transition here to St. Pete or Tampa Bay to be a smooth one. And we think that all starts with the information you have, and that's what we're trying to do. So certainly we hope you enjoyed the video, and we appreciate that you stuck it out to the end here. And certainly if you are thinking about moving to the Tampa Bay area, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and we can make that move and transition to the Tampa Bay a smooth one, just like ours was.
So until next time.